All right, Ravens flock, what's up? So the weird part and also the unfortunate part about when you're trying to build the best possible team is it's pretty much impossible to please everybody. Even if you could get as close as possible, it's not impossible, but it's just about impossible. Like, and we're seeing that kind of play out right now where J.K. Dobbins, he's still expressing frustration, which I think is obviously a shame because we haven't even he hasn't even really seen the offense yet to know if he should be frustrated or not. But I think it's more of a money thing at this point instead of a production thing. When he was complaining a few months ago after the playoff loss, he understandably so was complaining about not getting enough touches. It's about the production. But now it seems to be obviously straight up about the money because he posted on social media yesterday. I'm gonna paraphrase because I'm outside right now, so I really don't got the time to double check exactly what he said. But he said something to the effect of, "Hey, Baltimore, I would love to be here. I would love to retire here. I don't know, but I don't know if I'll be able to, sadly." And it's definitely making a lot of fans concerned, obviously, because this is an elite running back. Like, to me, J.K. Dobbins is a top 5 running back as far as talent. As far as production, he hasn't had a chance to really prove himself yet, partially because of injuries and partially because Greg Roman wasn't letting him be the dominating figure in our running attack, which again was super ironic because you got a guy who, again, we're not here to kick Greg Roman while he's down, but that still blows my mind that we had a guy who everybody said was a run game guru, but your running back was the most frustrated with how things were going. But still, obviously, he's in a weird situation. He's in a contract year, and we're about to start a new offensive system that is going to be more pass heavy. From a production standpoint of this, I don't think JK should really be worried or complaining about anything because the two people I think are gonna really be frustrated this year are Gus Edwards and Justice Hill. Maybe not Justice Hill kind of because he still may kind of do his thing maybe with special teams, but Gus Edwards, in my opinion, definitely is gonna see a significant drop in production this year because I'm assuming that in Todd Monken's system, when they run, I'm assuming they're going to be very J.K. Dobbins focused. If J.K.'s still here, like whoever the starting running back is, I'm assuming they're going to be very they're going to be very focused on making that one running back the focal point of the running attack instead of doing what was done in previous years where they had us, like for example, obviously J.K.'s rookie season that year, Lamar had 1,000 yards. 1,000 yards rushing. J.K. had 900 yards rushing. Gus Edwards had about, I think, 735 yards rushing. I believe that was Mark Ingram's last year here. I think he still had like another 400 yards. So it was spread. It was a lot of yards, obviously, but it was spread across so many people. I don't really think that's going to be the case. I think if J.K. stays, he could easily have 1,200 to 1,300 yards this year. He is a special running back. Like, again, on his career, he's averaging like 5.9 yards. I know a lot of people feel as though part of why he does so well is because the threat of Lamar, which that's true. But people got to remember, even when Lamar went out and Tyler Huntley was the starter, and yeah, Tyler Huntley's still mobile, but he's not Lamar. So teams aren't really scared to the same degree. And even when it was Tyler Huntley there instead of Lamar, J.K. was still averaging like 5.7 yards a carry. Like, J.K. is absolutely special. He's a beast. And he's still waiting for his chance to really show that he could be that beast. And I think assuming he just calms down, assuming he just calms down and just at least play this year out, he will get that chance to show that. I could easily see J.K. putting up 12 to 1,300 yards and like 12 touchdowns. And that's just rushing. A lot of people forget, before J.K. got injured in 2020, before he got injured in 2021 for the first time, that off season during like the OTA slash minicamp time, he specifically was talking about how hard he was working to improve as a receiving back, to improve in that part of his game when it comes to actually catching the ball. Because of course around that time, if I'm not mistaken, he had some key drops in his rookie year in that playoff game where we played the Buffalo Bills. He had some mishaps, so he was trying to focus on improving on that. And I'm assuming he still stayed focused on improving that part of his game. When you actually think about what he could do, even if we throw the ball more, I could easily see a scenario where when you add up his rushing yards and receiving yards, he could finish the year with like 1,500 plus yards and like 15 touchdowns. He could have that type of Christian McCaffrey or Austin Eckler type of year. But I think he's trying to employ a negotiation tactic, because either J.K. or his team or both, they're both smart enough to recognize that he is a fan favorite. Or I'll say pretty much J.K. is a fan favorite, because I can't really think of anybody. In the Ravens flock who doesn't like J.K. really. I think everybody pretty much agrees that he's the best back that we have. So this could be a smart move on their behalf, where they're trying to get the fans emotional and try to use that to kind of leverage that into getting him more money. I don't really think it's going to work, but it could be something that they're trying. But there's a bigger issue going on right now outside of J.K. Dobbins. The running back market as a whole is tanking. Like, it's literally tanking. You look around right now, it's completely tanking right now. You look at Austin, speaking of Austin Eckler, like Austin Eckler just like a month or two ago, he requested a trade from the Chargers because he feels as though, and he has said that he feels as though he's outplayed his contract and that he deserves more money and he wants more money. And from the looks of it, it seems like the Chargers aren't really trying to give that to him. Joe Mixon's in a weird space right now, where even though I thought Joe Mixon already had a contract a few years ago, but I guess he's trying to re-up or renegotiate again or whatever. But there's talks that the Bengals may be willing to move on from him because they don't really want to pay him either. There's rumors that the Titans are trying to move on from Derrick Henry. Like, imagine the one of the best running backs in the league and easily the best player on their offense right now. They're trying to move on from him. Like, there's rumors that Dalvin Cook and the Vikings aren't on good terms right now, and in order for there's also rumors that Dalvin Cook may have to be willing to take less money to stay with the Vikings right now. Like, then also you see like Saquon Barkley, like he's in a weird situation where he wants $17 million allegedly, but the Giants don't want to give it to him. They're trying to tag him, but he hasn't signed a tag yet. So he's in this weird standoff with them. Like, the running back market as a whole is just going down the toilet. It's actually, it's pretty sad to see, and unfortunately people like JK, he might just end up being another casualty to that war that's playing out. Because, like, you're seeing backs that, again, I still think J.K. is top 5 talent-wise compared to every other back in the league. I still think he's top 5 talent-wise, but as far as, like, production, due to injuries and due to being held back by Greg Roman, like, production-wise, he hasn't been able to match up with them yet because he just doesn't have the numbers. So if these guys are struggling to get their money and get their next contracts, it's going to be hard for a guy like J.K. to come in and demand that. Even if he has an amazing year this year, that's the sad part. Because many people have argued that running backs are probably the easiest position to replace. And even though it's a shame to say that because there's so many talented backs who are so diverse, it's actually a pretty fair argument. Like, you look at the Chiefs. Like, they had, Clyde Edwards-Helaire and the other guy, McKinnon, but, neither one of those guys been playing all that well. They're both pretty mid. And then they, last year they drafted that guy in the 7th round, Isaiah Pacheco, and he came right out the gate. Well, not right at the gate, but he's been very productive, especially in the playoffs. Like, at this point, he probably has that starting spot locked up And that's a guy who was like a seventh rounder from Rutgers. I mean, who went to Rutgers like that nobody cared about. So J.K. Dobbins is in a weird position. Even when you see the top backs like Christian McCaffrey a couple months ago, he did an interview with Rich Eisen where on their YouTube channel where he talked about his frustration and mind you, Christian McCaffrey's like the highest paid back in the league, and he's talking about how frustrated it is watching other backs really not get that money. So I think there's gonna have to be a serious adjustment made to rookie. There needs to be a serious adjustment made to rookie contracts for running backs, because right now, like, they're getting paid next to nothing, and then on top of that, they get ran into the ground and then tossed to the side more often than not, because teams don't really want to re-up their deal for a second contract, which is obviously unfair. In the case of actually, there's a good example. Actually, a lot of people forget before like Jamarcus Russell, before that era, like rookie contracts used to be a lot more valuable. But obviously, because of people like the Jamarcus Russells of the world, a lot like they completely changed how rookie contracts went to now. Most players on their rookie deals, they get paid next to nothing, which is compared to before. You know, some of these rookies, they were coming out the gate negotiating like $100 million deals as rookies. I think we should, at least for running backs, go back to something similar to that, to where they could at least be front loaded a lot of money based on the value that teams believe they could immediately bring to the team. That way, at least when they get kicked to the curb after 3 years of being ran into the ground, at least they already got their big deal. They already got their mega contract. Because as it's currently set up right now, it's set up to really screw them over, to where they're gonna be ran into the ground and they really can't do anything. They can't do anything after, a couple years, and they didn't make any money. So it's a weird place to be in. So I really hope JK gets over this and they work it out, because this offense is going to be amazing, and I'd rather it be with him. But again, we'll see, how things go. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you think that the NFL as a whole should restructure how rookie running back deals are set up? And do you think that JK will still be on the team after this season?